In a mother's love, you will find everything. Everything's alright. To a mother's love, you are bound. You can rest on sacred ground. You are free to dream because she sees what you can be. Did you know that mental health is a family affair? It's a family affair. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. Well, one child grows up to be somebody that just loves to learn, and another child grows up to be somebody you just love to burn. Mama loves the both of them. You see, it's in the blood. Both kids are good to mom. Blood thicker than the mud. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. Oh, a family affair. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. Nobody wants to blow. Nobody wants to be left out. You can't leave because your heart is there. But you can't stay because you've been somewhere else. You can't cry because you look broke down, but you're crying anyway because you're all broke down. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. Well, it's a family affair. Hey, hey. Justice for CJ, a son, brother, father, uncle. Up drove the hearse Cadillac. A crowd of people gathered around, all dressed in black. And as they removed his body from the car, such pain she never knew had filled her heart. It happened on an early Saturday morning when the noise from the phone really disturbed her. She wasn't too sure at first just what the caller meant when they informed her that there had been an incident. Why, oh why, the sound of a mother's cry as she gathered herself and wiped the tears from her eyes. Somebody asked, who was the next of kin. But oh Lord, it was the beginning of her end. March 17th, 2018. CJ will forever be 22 years young. Justice for CJ. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us who we used to be. Everybody's searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. I never found anyone to fulfill my needs. A lonely place to be. So I learned to depend on me. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I failed, if I succeed, at least I'll live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity, because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. And if by chance that special place that you've been dreaming of takes you to a lonely place, find yourself in love. Welcome to my world. Come on in and make yourselves at home. Welcome to my life. I know everything's gonna be all right. Welcome to my world. Oh, won't you come on in? Welcome to my life. It's known as the Tiger's Den. Greetings to all of my subscribers. I want to thank you for being with me for as long as you have, and the new subscribers that's coming on in. We want to say greetings and thank you for your time. This is from Toothless and the moderators. Welcome to the Tiger's Den. Greetings. This is the voice of Cheryl, and I am Toothless Tiger. I am glad that you guys were able to join me for tonight. For last night, I was totally out of it. I guess you could call me Sleepy Beauty because I was ever so sleepy. I've been up for a few days working on some paperwork that a deadline has to be met, and we're doing real good in our progress. So I had a beautiful show planned for last night, and I decided that it was too good to just let it go, and it couldn't wait for Sunday, so I thought I'd start it today. I'm going to come on camera for a moment because I want to say a few things on camera, and then I'm going to go off camera because I want to actually share some videos with you and do a little reading. Let me say greetings to all again. Ryan, it's so good to see you. I know you've been extremely busy, and with those young men, I just love what you and the missus are doing. I love it. Also, if you don't see Maria in the chat, I asked her if she would please get some rest. Maria has been having to work extra hours, and yet she still tried to moderate for those of us that she moderates for. And she still has to go to work tonight. So I told her, and I want you guys to remind me that I would be calling her at 9:30 to make sure she's awake. So she said if she pop up before then, she'll pop in. But I asked her if she would please just get some rest. Um, she knows what I'm talking about because one of the stories she gave me, and we've already discussed it. So I would like for y'all to remind me at 9:30 Central Standard Time. And if you're still with me and you're on the Eastern Time, it may be 10:30. And of course, if you're on the West Coast, it would be like 7:30. But remind me, I have my alarm set so that I can try to make sure that, we get her to work on time. Uh, Maria is not only the hardest working woman on YouTube, but she is a woman to be commended in real life because she has faithfully worked for a young lady for over 15 years as a promise to her mother. And therefore, she's worked two jobs for at least 15 years. And so that to me is to be commended. Lord knows I didn't even want to work one. And although I worked 42 years of my life, it was a struggle. Okay. Oh, okay, Catchy. So yeah, you on the East Coast, and we're in the Central Time Zone. So it would be 9:30. It would be 10:30 your time, 9:30 our time. Greetings to Crystal. I'm just being me. Laura, Brianna. It's always a pleasure, and put a smile on my face when I see you in the chat. Always. Cachet, Phyllis, Ryan Road. Hey, Ryan. I have to do extra with Ryan and Asatar because normally they're the two men that hold us down. And sometimes Lazy gets to drop in. He works hard. He drives buses. And so he's always working overtime as well. And one good thing about having a chat such as mine, you really kind of get to know your people and their schedules. And that's the beauty of having a YouTube family. A lot of people say that we're not family here. This is just YouTube. But for me, it's a family affair. The purpose that I came to YouTube was to help uplift fallen humanity. And I came at a time when I heard a voice that I thought was a voice of reason and a voice of uniting us as a people. We all seem to be in our own lanes and do our own things, and that's the right thing to do because you're an adult, so you do what you do. But when you can come together for the greater good, it really means a lot. We know most of our history or what we've been told of our history, and a lot of things we don't know, and we have to start researching and finding out. And that's what I did, and I wanted to share that, my life and my journey in the 64 years of life. And as Catchy reminded me earlier, come next week, I'll be 65 years young. And it is my desire, hope, prayer that I'll see 65 and 65 will see me. Because that day is going to come and go, whether I'm here or not. One of the things I want to talk about, because the person that inspired me to come to YouTube actually talked about how we as a people and a society try to effeminize our men. And sometimes we as mothers, lovers, aunts, godmothers, girlfriends, as women, sometimes we effeminize and emasculate our men without even knowing that that's what we're doing. Our men have such a hard time in this place we call the United States of America. And a lot of it is due to the history and the things that has happened before and that are seeming to be happening more and more today. I had this story that Maria had given me, and it's about a young man in Chicago that was shot by a police officer. Now, we hear a lot of people being killed in Chicago. So we know the history of Chicago, and we hear a lot of the gang activity and things of that nature. And then a lot of people even say, well, you know, we'd love to get upset when the police officer kill us, but what about when we kill ourselves? It hurts equally as bad. It may even hurt more. But most of us are put in a condition, an environment in which we live that is very hard for us to overcome. Asatar, greetings. It's very hard for us to overcome. Some of us are people that think out of the box, and we can't accept the status quo. So we may go on to be successful and to be all that we can be. But some of us are trapped in our environment. And that does not make us less of a people, does not make us not have values, morals, or dreams and hopes. Sometimes we're just caught up in the minutia of what's going on, and we don't know a way out. And so when we came together as a group in this sector, it was such a good feeling. And everybody seemed to be on one accord. And it was because it was people from a whole level of life roasting each other. And that made it real fun. And unfortunately, that came to a halt. And then we had individuals roasting each other. We kind of got away from the goal of what all we were going to do, what all we could do to make life better for ourselves and for our community, not only on YouTube, but at home at large. Thank you, Az. So, you know, I've never been a roaster, and so I've never participated in that. I've supported and I've laughed, and it's been just a whirlwind of an experience here in this metaverse. But here lately, I've been noticing, I grew up right off of Jim Crow. I was born in 1958, and the Civil Rights Act was signed into law in 1964. It is amazing how we as a people can't have open dialogue about our condition. And when we try to talk with one another and come to a consensus, then we have outside forces saying that we're being difficult or we're pulling the race card. So tonight I have on my stack deck collection, and we all know what that is. And that is, if I'm playing the race card, then you're playing the other 53 stacked against me. That's the stack deck collection. And I base that off of a deck of cards because a deck of cards come with 54 when you have the jokers in the game. And so this is not a race card conversation because I'm not a race card person. I believe there's only one race, and that's the human race. But things can be misconstrued, or people can feel they're under attack, or it's misinformation. The information that I'm giving you, I'm going to allow you to research yourself. The videos that I'll be showing, a couple of them I could not change them in any fashion. So I just decided to put them on mute, and you can follow along in the closed caption. But you also, because I'm going to share them, thanks to Asatar, letting you know my sources, then you'll be able to go and Google it yourself like I did. And you'll be able to follow the story or hear the words if you haven't heard of these stories. And they're very sad stories. One we hear over and over and over again. So I'm going to start out with a Yale article that I found that was very interesting to me, and I wanted to share it. Hey, so Alicia, I hope today was better. I think we all had a rough day yesterday. Okay. So I want to start with the Yale News first, and I want to talk about the racial disparity in police shootings, and it is unchanged over 5 years. That says something to me. You know, we all say we want change and we want to make a difference and we want things to be different. But what are we really doing in the way of helping it be different? Every 4 years we go and we vote for president. And then, you know, every 2 years maybe, and sometimes 1 year, it's according to the offices in your state, in your city, your town. We go to the polls and we vote people in office, and they make us a lot of promises of how things will be different. But we don't see any difference in our everyday uh, lives. So there has to be, at some point, since we believe the children are our future, it has to be at some point that we start taking responsibility for that future. And we help the children by learning who we're voting for, learning what they stand for, what they believe in, and then holding them to account when they don't deliver on what they tell us. One thing we also must do, and you know, we all claim we don't have money, and money is scarce. It is. But we see how people throw away money just here in the metaverse, and they throw it away on things such as, I don't like you, so I'm going to pay X amount of dollars for you to get knocked off a stage. And it's very funny for the masses. For the person that happens to, not so funny. And for the content creator that happens for, it helps the benefit, the donations. But this is our business and we all do it our way. So it's nothing wrong with doing anything the way you choose to do it, as long as you're not hurting yourself or anyone else and not allowing anyone to hurt you. But this information that I want to share, and so it's not many that will run and come and pile up this chat, or the donations don't ring off the hinges. But I have a very good group of people that have supported me from the beginning. Some came along, and for the past year, I've had some outstanding support, and I thank y'all. That's what makes me try to keep my schedule and to be here for you all. Every used to be Tuesday and Sunday, and now it's Wednesday and Sunday. And I'll even do my best to do a little bit more premieres or videos throughout the week. I really, really love what I do, but I'm a very low key person. And since my congestive heart failure, it's not a lot that I do. I don't have a lot of energy to do. So I'm going to say, oh, that's just because you're fat and overweight. Could be a part of it. But no, I have data that proves my condition. And I don't have to prove it to anybody. I just share it because that's who I am. But I have few good men and women that support me no matter what. And for that, I'm truly grateful. And that's why I try to do my best to show up. And I decided to do this show tonight. So I'm going to start off again with the article, and then I'm going to share the videos. And some of you may be aware of the stories, and some of you may not. Some of you may not even care because it's overwhelming. And then we feel that we're in a position that we can't do anything. But I beg to differ. There's a lot we can do. I help change lives daily. And you have to just get knowledgeable of what to do and how to do it. Anything, a problem, can be resolved. But first, we got to know what the problem is. And then once we identify the problem, then we have to discover why the problem happened and how we can do something to make it different. And we all can contribute in whatever way that we can contribute. So if you would just go along with me as I share this information. I would love for anybody to comment. And as I'm reading and stuff, I won't see what you guys are saying. But one thing I love about this chat, we love open dialogue and we communicate and we have fun. And that's what it's all about, having fun and learning along the way. And most of you guys are people in your real lives that really make a difference in other people's lives. And so that really means a lot to me. Uh, so Alicia, news and sports. Hey, look at that new name. You go, girl. You go. I like that. I just noticed that. Okay, so I'm going off camera and here we go. Asatan talking about, so Alicia, no longer are you later saying hey to people that aren't here and we're told to stay out the chat to get some rest. Asatan is just silly as he can be. He can't help himself. Ah, y'all are so funny. Okay, here we go, y'all. Let me get this on here. Okay. This is Yale News, and we're going to be talking about racial disparity in police shootings unchanged over 5 years. And again, I just Googled um, about police shootings according to race. And this was done by Britta Belly, October 27th, 2020. So imagine we're still going through this in 2023. Over the past 5 years, there has been no reduction in the racial disparity in fatal police shooting victims despite increased use of body cameras. And that's going to be a real interesting thing as it play out in the videos that I will show you guys. Police body cameras, because remember, we used to didn't have videos, and it was the person who was victimized word against the officer. And we know when it comes to what we call integrity and honor and the badge, most people are going to go with the badge just because of the position and the authority that it holds. But when we started getting the cell phones and everybody started videoing, and then we started seeing some of those stories on those police reports that were being told didn't actually play out that way. So we're going to see. Over the past 5 years, there has been no reduction in the racial disparity in fatal police shooting victims, despite increased use of body cameras and closer media scrutiny, according to a new report by researchers at Yale and the University of Pennsylvania. Using information from a national database compiled and maintained by the Washington Post, researchers found that victims identifying as Black, Indigenous, or people of color, whether armed or unarmed, had significantly higher death rates compared with whites. And those numbers remain relatively unchanged from 2015 to May 2020. And the report appears in the October the 27th edition of the Journal of Epidemiology and Public Health. While the data are already publicly available, the researchers decided to enter it into the scientific literature and present it using methods that are accepted by science and rigorous and robust. It's critical, said Arthur Darwin Boatwright, assistant professor of emergency medicine at Yale, that fatal police shootings of BIPOC, is what I'm going to call it, are recognized and treated as a public health emergency. Now, I'm going to just pause for a moment. It's treated as a public health emergency by whom? Because what we know from the history of what's going on, the majority of these cases end in qualified immunity, which was given to the police forces throughout the United States through a U.S. Supreme Court decision. And actually, we know Congress are the ones who's supposed to make laws. But that's where qualified immunity, I've read, came from. So we also want to acknowledge that we are under the fair use of Title 17 U.S. Code 107, Limitations and Exclusive Rights for the Use of Copyright Act. And what we are using is the fair use of copyrighted material without permission. And it's allowed when we use it as commentary, criticism, education, research, scholarship, and teaching. And do know that I am doing a little bit of all of those titles. And that's why I want you to feel free to indulge in the conversation. And it really helps. In an analysis of 4,653 fatal shootings for which information about both race and age were available, the researchers found a small but statistically significant decline in white deaths, about 1%, but no significant change in deaths for BIPOC. There were 5,367 fatal police shootings during that 5-year period, according to the Post database. In the case of armed victims, Native Americans were killed by police at a rate 3 times that of white people, 77 total killed. Black people were killed at 2.6 times the rate of white people, 1,265 total killed. and Hispanics were killed at nearly 1.3 times the rate of white people, 889 total killed. Among unarmed victims, black people were killed at 3 times the rate, 218 total killed, and Hispanic at 1.5 times the rate of white people, 146 total rate. Those killed by police on average are young people. The average age for all victims is 34, Boatwright said. The black people, the average age is 30. For Hispanics killed, the average age is 33. For Native Americans, 31. And for white people, 38. The report quantified the impact on BIPOC in terms of years of life lost, a way of measuring premature deaths that gives greater weight to death at a younger age, and found an average 31,960 years of life lost annually in the United States due to police shootings. These numbers are on par with other common causes of death. They represent about 83% of lives lost due to cyclist road injuries, 78% of deaths to unintentional firearm injuries, and 57% of maternal death causes related to pregnancy. And that's a very high rate. The health impacts of these deaths extend beyond the victims to their surrounding communities, Boatwright said. In areas where there are police killings, the black population reports worse mental health, he said. Worse mental health. Mm. A 2018 study from the University of Pennsylvania found that police killings could contribute 1.7 additional poor mental health days per black person every year, or 55 million more poor mental health days for black Americans annually. The Washington Post repository on police shootings draws its data from local news reports, independent databases, and its own reporting. It won a Pulitzer Prize for national reporting in 2016. It includes race, age, sex, and information about weapons involved. For the study, the researchers discounted certain objects as weapons, despite their inclusion as such on police reports, including an air conditioner, a chair, wasp spray, and a pen, because of the low likelihood that these objects would be immediately lethal. We were intentional about naming what we considered to be weapons and things that shouldn't cause bodily harm, said Emanuela Asabar, an MD PhD student in epidemiology and co author of the study. Black people are disproportionately killed by police even when they are unarmed. The researchers noted that health professionals are not at the front lines, are at the front lines of this public health emergency. In the emergency rooms, treating victims and consoling families. These health professionals, Asabar said, have a moral obligation to add to this conversation. And I believe that that's true. And I think that if we could have the conversations, talked about this the last time we were on think tanks and what think tanks were about and who developed think tanks. And people could have their own think tanks. Because remember, it's the gathering of information, having the discussion, coming to a consensus, formulating strategies in order to overcome burdens, barriers, situations. Regina said, hi, Regina M. Regina said, that part, black people are killed disproportionately by police even when they are unarmed. Painful. It is. She added, our training and our visibility give us the ear of the people. We have to advocate for doing no harm in a data driven way when it comes to inequity in police violence. Ultimately, the researchers said their findings indicate that systemic changes are needed. Let the report's first author from the University of Pennsylvania. Okay, y'all, give me 1 second. One second. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. And so I was stopped at what Let was saying from the University of Pennsylvania. What has been done at the local level, such as body camera and independent investigations, has been insufficient. We need to raise it to the state and national level and to codify it into law. And that is so true because we keep talking about the body cams and that's the end of the article. We keep talking about the body cams and they were really going to help and they spent a lot of money doing these body cams. But unfortunately, as we're going to see in the story, at least one of them, and actually two of them that I know of tonight, I'm going to come back on camera for a moment. At least we're going to see uh, the body cams, that little, to me, you could call it a theory because it's not in operation. The body cams seem to always either fall off or they don't get cut on from the beginning, the onset of the issue, which you would think once a police officer goes out on a call, they go out with the body cam rolling. But for some reason, we always get part of the story when the police is sharing the story, even with the body cam. And then, as you will see, what I've done on two of the videos, because, like I said, I couldn't change the speed or anything, I decided to just put it on mute and then let you guys see the caption. And then you can go and look at it if you want to hear what they're saying. And then I'll just, give what they're saying from what I've heard because I've looked at all of the videos. So give me a moment and let me just get to my first video. Chicago. Yeah, where's my guy? I'm gonna stop that. Okay, I know y'all hear me talking to myself. You know, I'm a great believer in talking to yourself, so just bear with me because I don't see my story that I wanted to do from today. I'll just pull it back up because I know what it is. I tried to have them all over here set so that I can just bring them up. The first story I want to talk about is a young man out of Florida. The story was updated Wednesday, October 18, 2023. Now, I took this and made a document out of this from the CNN on the internet. And the story was by Melissa Alonzo. I don't know what that is I just did. That ain't what I wanted. Here is what I wanted. So let's share this document. This is a Word document that I put together. This is about a young man who was wrongfully convicted and spent over 16 years in prison. And he came home only to be killed in a traffic stop. Now, he looks relatively dark on this picture, but as you will see from the video, I didn't even know that was the same person. But it is the same person. And you will know that too, especially when you see, I think his name is Ben Crump on the scene. A Florida man who was exonerated after serving more than 16 years for a crime he did not commit was shot and killed by a deputy in Georgia during a traffic stop, according to news release from the Georgia Bureau of Investigations. A Camden County deputy stopped 53-year-old Leonard Allen Cure on Interstate 95 around 7:30 a.m. Monday, the GBI said in a statement. No information was provided on the reason that police pulled Cure over or what led to the traffic stop. Cure got out of the vehicle at the deputy's request, the GBI said, and he complied with the officer's commands until learning that he was under arrest. Cure had been exonerated and released from prison in April of 2020 after serving more than 16 years for a 2003 robbery in Broward County, Florida, court documents show. After not complying with the deputy's request, the deputy tased Cure. And I don't know if they called him Cure or Cure, but I'm going to say Cure. The GBI said Cure assaulted the deputy. The deputy used the taser for a second time and as ASP baton and an ASB baton. However, Cure still did not comply. The deputy pulled out his gun and shot Cure. EMTs treated Cure, but he later died, said the GBI news release. The GBI it will conduct, said it will conduct an independent investigation of the incident and turn its findings over to the Brunswick Judicial Circuit District Attorney's Office to review. He deserved to live his life in freedom. Cure, who was known to friends as Lenny, was returning home to Fairborn, Georgia, after his visiting his mother when the police stopped him. The Florida Innocence Project, which represented Cure, said in a statement Monday, sadly, his life was cut tragically short. The project's executive director, Seth Miller, said. The group noted that the state of Florida had officially apologized to Cure, and in August, he received compensation from the state because of his wrongful conviction. When the Broward State Attorney's Office launched a conviction review until in now let me start that over. I messed that all the way up. When the Broward State Attorney's Office launched a conviction review unit in 2019, one of the first petitions that arrived came from Cure, who previously lost four appeals for post-conviction relief, according to Broward County Court records. The Florida Innocence Project said its investigation found evidence in the form of an ATM receipt showing Cure was miles away from the scene of the crime at the time of the robbery he was convicted of committing. And look how something as simple as a ATM receipt. And a lot of us don't even get the ATM receipts. And at gas stations, they tell you really don't get them because a lot of people use your numbers and, mess with your bank account. But look at something as simple as an ATM receipt proved that this man was nowhere near what he was being accused of and spent 16 years or more of his life locked up for it. The review unit determined that a complete review of the evidence presented at trial and in discovery, as well as further investigation of that evidence, demonstrates the case against Mr. Cure give rise to a reasonable doubt as to his culpability and that he is most likely innocent, court documents show. This is the first exoneration initiated by the Conviction Review Unit, said a 2020 tweet from the state attorney's office. Welcome to freedom, Leonard, wrote the Innocence Project after his exoneration. The Georgia Innocence Project said Cure had recently spoken to students in Jonesboro, Georgia, about wrongful convictions. After all he endured, he deserved to live his life in freedom, the group said. And that is so true. I'm just going to stop sharing for a moment so I can see what you guys are saying in the chat. Ryan said he saw that. Tragic as ever. Yeah, it was. I mean, it's just heartbreaking. Regina said the body cams are absolutely a great idea and much needed, but corruption of evil has found a way to hide and or twist the truth to convince you of the lies. So very true. What's sad about most of it is that they don't have the body cams on during the whole stop. And it should be on from the moment that they answer the call, in my opinion. From the moment when they're on that, what do you call that thing? Intercom, saying that they're going to respond to this, whatever it is. En route to the place, the cams should start rolling, because these are special body cams and they're equipped to, I'm sure, tape up to however many hours, that may be needed on a call. And so there is no reason in my mind that we get half of a body cam footage when we get body cam footage. We never get the beginning, and then everybody want to tell us after the fact, or we see people fighting for their lives and to survive because they believe that they're going to die. It is amazing how everyone has this idea that, well, you don't know what happened before the camera started rolling. Why don't we know when that's a part of their uniform? It's just like taking your badge off and putting it on in the middle of the fight. You wear your badge from the time you go on duty until the time you come off. And so, of course, the camera may not roll that entire time. But certainly, hey, Kelly G, good to see you. But certainly, it should roll at some point. Asatar said, after taking the most important 16 years of his life from him, and he said taking in all caps. So I feel you on that, Asatar. They decided to take the rest of his life away? Yeah, that's what we're faced with. Hi, BTW, Tim Sweeney. I see you said like and share it, and can you drop a link? I don't know what link you want to drop, but I don't drop my link for people to come up. I think you were in here before, and like I said, if that's what you wanted me to do, then you can email me, and then or you can inbox me on IG. I'm on IG, and it's scrolling down here to Pasiger. But I don't just arbitrarily drop my link. So I don't know if you're asking that or that's just what you say when you speak. So let's go to the video. And like I said, I couldn't, and I may not really have to change it, but one of the things I know that YouTube look at and the guidelines, if you alter the video in some way, then, oh, he said, like, child, see, child, BTW Sweeney. I'm surprised you showed back up. Thank you. Thank you, Regina. I'm up here saying LINK, and that's a LIKE. Thank you for showing up, BTW. I mean, really, thank you very much, because I'm so glad Regina said something. I said that the last time you was in here, and didn't nobody say a word. So I guess they listening to me instead of reading like Regina did. Thank you, Regina. And BTW, please forgive me. I thought that said link. I guess that's why I didn't get an email. You probably thought I was crazy as hell. Ooh, sometimes I feel like a nut. Sometimes I don't. So, yeah, sometimes I feel like it. And Kelly asked, are you talking about the man from Georgia and the police stop? I'm talking about one, but yes, that's the man. He's from Florida, but he moved to Georgia. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about, Kelly. Exactly. I'm going to show the video. And like I stated, I'm going to show the video. But I'm going to have the closed caption on because I couldn't change the speed of the voices. Yeah, as I seen that after Regina said it, drop a like. I'm talking about drop a link. He probably say, Lord, this woman got problem. Okay, y'all, and like I said, I have the closed caption on, so you won't get to hear it. You'll just get to see it. That was the only way I knew that I could do to make it different and to show that I made an attempt to do it different. So this is from the time that he got out of the truck. And I will let you guys hear some parts of it because I think it's a very important to hear. This is from the CBS News Miami, News 4. And so we want to thank them for this coverage. Where's my... Okay, now I'm going to get ready to start playing. So this is when he was stopped, when he got out, and what they said that he was cooperating and doing everything. And then this happened. We saw what happened. But what they're not telling us, we're going to hear in this video. So that means some part of this video has to be missing or something is just not right, as Keep Sweat would say. So let's go. And now I'm going to go because they're going to go back to talking and we're going to hear that part. Let me just bring this down for a minute so that I can just cut the music up just a little bit. Thank you for the copyright disclaimer, Regina. Okay, now I'm going to bring it up and I'm going to let you guys hear the rest of this because I think it's very interesting.
Him after the shooting. Cure's family, though, wants to see another video. A video of a live stream they say Cure started when he was pulled over.
Justice for Leonard. Justice for Leonard.
This is how attorney Ben Crum started a press conference right in front of Camden County Courthouse. They said more than one deputy was at the scene when Leonard Cure was pulled over.
We want to see if they in any way had reason to fear for their life where they had to use deadly force. The family is not convinced that you're going to see that.
Leonard Allen Cure, 53, was identified by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation as the man shot and killed Monday by a sheriff's deputy in Georgia during a traffic stop. At the press conference, the family also made reference to a live streaming Cure was seemingly doing as he was stopped.
One of the officers yesterday did say he was well aware that when they stopped Leonard, he had his phone in his hand and he was live streaming, but he would not elaborate.
Whoever took down that live stream from Facebook, whether it was law enforcement or whether it was the Facebook company, to put that live stream back up on his page.
Cure was wrongly convicted for a crime in 2003 and released in 2020 by the Broward State Attorney's Office after serving over 16 years in prison. The family said his mother and aunt always lived in fear of Cure being pulled over and suggested him to do a Facebook Live if something like that would ever happen.
I want justice for him. And I want the world to know that Leonard Cure is my son, my baby. He's not a liar.
Well, Michael Cure, who you saw also in the story, said he's not as forgiving as his brother was and lashed out at law enforcement. He also said his family will make sure they get justice. Live in the studio, Ivan Taylor, CBS News, Miami.
You know, that's such a sad, sad, sad story. One of the things that made me want to come on and try to help uplift fallen humanity is because all we want as a people, the majority of us, is just the right to be, just the right to live, just the right to make money, to give our children some of the things that are advertised. We're bombarded with advertisement in every area of life, even on the internet. We just want the right to be. And it's so very hard, it seems, for society to believe that all we want is the right to be, free of any fear, any harm, any danger, just the right to be. Astatar said, I don't think news channels have the same copyright policies. Giving the news station credit is all you need. But just to be safe, Thank you, Regina, for posting. Thank you both. As Asator said, like me, Chief Sweat, something, 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 something just ain't right. Yeah, something's not right. There's no reason. And you know, one of the things that I've heard that police officers say, one of the most dangerous part of their job is traffic stops. But this man had gotten out of the vehicle and was standing there. Now, I don't know what happened that made the man tase him and then, him to ball up the tase, because it didn't phase him, and he tased him twice. So I don't know what, precipitated that. But something is not right. And again, where was his telephone? And because when he got out of the truck, I didn't see his telephone in his hand. Where was his telephone? And where's the video that was streaming live? Because what they're saying is it was streaming live. So we don't know at what point it stopped. Okay, that's that story. Very, very sad that this young man spent 16 or more years of his life incarcerated. And they did try to make it right by finally, compensating him for that. And 3 years later, his life is now gone. And the family now has to go through the trial. And here's another compensation, but they don't have him. I mean, God, that's just so sad. The other story, let me get it before I go to my last story. This young man, I had it up, but I don't know what happened to it. And Asator said, we don't know the same, and I don't know if it's more or less the news policy or, the YouTube policy saying that you have to do something if you're going to use someone's stuff. This is a alarm for Maria. Let me give her a call. Give me one moment, please. Okay, y'all. Now, this next story is another Alabama story. It's from another town in Alabama. Remember, we've had quite a few stories here in the past week that I've covered from Alabama. The last one being, the Snapchat scandal, if you all remember. But this story here is a guy, and we don't know why he was stopped or whatever. And I think it may be an article. And it is an article that I'll read after we witness this sad story. Now, this man is still with us, and he was not shot. So So Alicia, that's crazy. She says she is a sports journalist. Then she's a sports journalist. Leave her alone. Asatar, Coach Asatar. Thank you, Ass. See there, you remember. That's all that matters. We on top of it. Okay, y'all. Now here's the next story. This is Mobile police officer who beat handcuffed man, and the department is saying he was justified in what he did. And so that's what we're going to go to now. My closed caption is supposed to be on there. And I'm going to do it just like I did the other. I'm going to play this little part, and then I'm going to let you guys hear when the people start talking. I want y'all to see that beating. Now that's kind of brutal, but if you would go and pull up this story, there are different accounts, and you can see the whole encounter, and you can even hear him talking back to the police and being very upset about it. So basically what they're saying is this police officer is beating this handcuffed man, but the police officer, believe it or not, is going to file a complaint and said that the man grabbed his testicles. And listen to how the individual that's in, I think, the police department, listen to how he explains that situation. Here we go.
While many people like Mario,
you're still gonna get beat or tased.
Considered a less than lethal weapon.
I mean, what's the use of the handcuffs if you're still gonna get beat or tased or killed?
While many people like Mario Yao say the officer displayed an excessive use of force, City Chief of Staff James Barber says that if you look closely in the video, you can see the suspect, Beezer DuBose Jr.'s much more subtle attack.
The suspect then grabbed the officer by the testicles, and that's when they went to the ground and continued to assault the officer.
Now that man said that's when they went to the ground. I don't know what y'all call to the ground, but from what we've seen from the beginning, the outset of this video that we can see, what we seen, they were already on the ground. So what does he mean? And I didn't play I'm not playing the part where the young man was hollering at the police, telling him what he'll do to him once they got him up, because he said the man grabbed his private area. And so I don't know what happened, but they had to be face to face, I guess, for the man to do it, or he did it when he handcuffed him, but we don't see that. So let's hear the rest of this.
If he did, that probably is a reaction of trying to get you off of me, because I'm already, you know what I'm saying, helpless, and you just beat me in my face. Nobody's stopping you. So, you know what I'm saying, first law of nature, self-preservation.
A complaint filed on Monday by the officer backs up Barber's statements.
There is physical evidence of that assault.
However, Barber says one thing is missing from this video. Context.
The video is a little bit deceiving because it actually takes place kind of in the middle of the confrontation.
District 2 Councilman William Carroll addresses the elephant in the room.
We wear body cams to not just protect the police officer, but to protect the person that's been arrested.
Body camera footage has not been released yet due to the ongoing investigation. While Mobile NAACP President Robert Clopton says he hopes to see body camera footage soon, he says this video speaks for itself.
Here we have a video of an incident and a situation which somewhat validates what's been keeping from us.
But people like Sabrina Mass say the release of body camera footage would clear up a lot of community concerns.
I would be silly to say I'm on the side of the victim per se or the police, because I haven't seen the entire video to make that point of view on what is right and what is wrong.
The officer involved, Paul Caligari Jr., has been placed on administrative leave, and he has been to see a urologist to determine what types of injuries he may have. Live in the studio this evening, I'm Asher Red, WKRG News 5.
Now, this is, as he just said, News 3. And he gave the call letters of the channel, and that's from Alabama. So we thank him for that. Let's cut that off. And then let me go back to the story that I was on, because I wanted to read that article. You know, and I think it's just a sin and a shame how we as people, I don't know why that lady felt compelled to give a statement. I guess she just had to say something. But for her to say she can't say who's right and who's wrong, that wasn't even necessary, because the man is handcuffed and he's being beat while handcuffed. So that's the issue. It's a no-brainer. We didn't see how all of this started out. We didn't even see the officer grab that man's testicles. But if you go and look at this video yourself, you'll hear him when they picked him up and was putting him in the car, because he was cussing the police out. And he told him he grabbed his you-know-what. So he grabbed him first. And that's just the best that man could do to get him off of him. Thank you so much. So, Alicia, love you back. Hey, Laquita, good to see you. Astor said, I know one weirdo from Alabama who claims Georgia. It might be something in the water in Alabama. Catchy, yeah, they said that was justified. So far, that's what they're saying, but we know that can't fly. And Regina said, it is never justified to beat a handcuffed and restrained person. None, capital N-O-N-E. However, the corruption of evil will twist the truth by any means. And I'm going to add, as Malcolm would say, necessary. No matter how ridiculous, it becomes a part of delivery. Regina, you must be a writer. I just love the way you put stuff. Asatar said, I've never been part of a fight where dudes were grabbing my you-know-what. Why all the grabbing? What police department is this? West Hollywood? See, I tell you so wrong. Oh, this is a serious subject. But that's the beauty of it all. You can take a serious subject and find some humor in your delivery of the subject. Not the situation, but we have to laugh, really, to keep from crying. This stuff is scary. And then we have people in a metaverse talking about they scared of your voice, or you know, mentioning their name or something. And these people are putting your private information out and all this good stuff. And we have these things going on every day. Some mother somewhere is mourning and trying to figure out, what do I do next? What do I do next? So Alicia said, oh, Lord. Regina said the body camera footage should always be immediately released and should never be held as an excuse for investigation purposes. Yet, we have video of part of the beating in progress. Exactly right. And that's my thing, Regina. And another thing is that they always keep that, and I know they do here in Dallas, they have some type of rule where they get to keep it for so many hours before they ever release it. And that makes no sense. Why are we asking them to have the footage if we're not going to be allowed to see the footage immediately? Or I should say it like we say in the hood, immediately. We need to see it immediately. And as I said, Regina, facts 100. I have a better, a little more extreme idea. At Regina, we, the public, should be able to turn in and watch every police officer body camera live. 1 minute delay. All this should be our out in the open. That is correct. I would agree with that, Asatar. They allow people to listen in to the calls for the people that have the scammers. I said, boy, I must be still sleepy, y'all, because I said the scammers, but I meant scammers. For the people who have the scanners, not scammers. Okay, here we go. Let's go with the article. I'm trying to get this. I got all this stuff up here and I can't really see the article without seeing that stuff. So I don't really want to see that. I want to just see the article. And I should have done like I do all other things that I do, and that's put it on a document. So give me 1 second. One second. Let me pull up my document. So I can read the article. I won't save it. I'll just print it so I can, put it over here so I can read it. Okay, coming to you guys from Mobile, Alabama, WKRG. Mobile officials weighed in on the viral video that shows a Mobile police officer beating a man who had already been placed in handcuffs. And it says they have more news from WRBL. A complaint filed by the officer involved Paul Caligari Jr. states that the suspect, Beezer Du Bois Jr., grabbed Officer Paul Caligari's testicles and penis and twisted them, causing serious physical pain. The complaint, filed on Monday, said Du Bois is what I'm going to call that because it's D-U-B-O-S-E. Du Bois committed a second-degree assault on Caligari. If he did, that's probably a reaction of trying to get you off me. That's what the gentleman was saying. I'm already helpless, and you're just beating me in my face, and nobody's stopping you. Mario Yao of Mobile said. The first law of nature is self-preservation. Then they go on to tell what the city chief of staff, Mr. Barber, said officers are allowed to use their fist as a less lethal weapon. It's called the hard hands technique. But they shouldn't be allowed to use their fist when you already handcuffed behind your back. The Mobile Police Handbook says officers are permitted to use less than lethal force as follows: to protect themselves or another from physical harm, to restrain or subdue a resistant individual, and 3, to bring an unlawful situation safely and effectively under control. Although the videos seem to show quite a bit of evidence, Barber said the viral video doesn't show what may have led up to the situation. And Barber is saying that like that's really something great to say. He's the city chief of staff, and he should be wondering, why don't the video show what happened from the beginning? He said that like he was really saying something there. The video is a little bit deceiving in a way because it kind of takes place in the middle of the confrontation. Why is that when he has on a body cam? And I wonder now, is that the body cam footage? Because if you guys couldn't hear him, but he's telling somebody to record it, and he's letting them know you being recorded. He just kept saying recorded. That's what he was saying when he was on the ground hollering. He was letting them know to record it. And it sounded like he was saying to his mother, but I don't know who he was talking to. It just sounded like that's what I heard. While Barber claimed the video may have lacked context, District 2 Councilman William Carroll addressed the elephant in the room after Tuesday's City Council meeting. And that's the young man we heard say, we wear body cams to not just protect the police officers, but to protect the person that's being arrested, Carroll said. Body camera footage, according to Barber, will not be released at least until the ongoing investigation is finished. What kind of sense does that make? And what investigation are we having? While Mobile NAACP President Robert Clopton said he hopes to see body cam footage, he says this video speaks for itself, and it does. Here we have a video of an incident and a situation that somewhat validates what has been kept from us, Clopton said. Caligari has been placed on administrative leave. Barber said he has been seen by a urologist to determine what injuries he may have sustained. This is an ongoing investigation. Now, what about the young man? Wonder did they get him medical help? Because he says clearly that you grabbed my you-know-what, 4-letter word. So it just really makes you wonder. And not that we don't have empathy for the police, because we have empathy for all people that are in danger, but that police officer is less than honest because we didn't see what happened from the beginning. And the body cams are supposed to be in place so that we can see what happened from beginning to end. But in all of these situations, it is amazing. We never see what happens at the beginning. And then we have people going back and forth in their feelings about situations that are really, 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 really moot points. Because if we're not looking at the whole story, then what are we arguing? They want us to believe that what our eyes see, we don't see. You know, there used to be this time when people used to say to us as mothers, and I'm talking about us Asiatic mothers and fathers, you need to have a talk with your children. Okay, why do we need to have a talk? We're getting shot down, beat down, handcuffed and beat down, no matter what we do. And we can never see the beginning of anything that happens. We saw what happened when Mr. Cure got out of the truck, and there was no reason from what we could see for this man to pull out a taser and start tasing him. He was standing there against the truck. And so I don't know, from what we saw, and it wasn't supposed to be any editing in that video, he goes from standing with his back to the officer and the officer talking to him being tased. That's some, something to question, for real. Something's just not right. And we as a people are going to have to make our voices heard. And we do that through legislation, and we do that by being involved. You don't have to be out with the pickets. If you don't want to be on the picket line, you don't have to do any of that if that's something you choose not to do. But what you should do is, all of us that go to the polls and vote every time we go and vote, we should really know what we're voting for. And we should hold our elected officials accountable. And they came up with this brilliant idea with the body cams. And I remember, to me, it seems like, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, it came up more so, and more police departments throughout the country started getting them when Barack Obama was in office. Okay, but if we're going to have cameras and we're not going to see what's happening, what good is the cameras doing us? It's just like a lot of stores have cameras and the cameras don't work. So therefore, everything that happens in that store, you're under the idea that you're being filmed. But if anything should happen, the cameras never work. What good are the cameras? That shouldn't be acceptable for our police. If you're going to have to wear cameras, then it needs to start from the onset, and any officer, in my opinion, that does not have the beginning of a situation to an end ought to be immediately terminated. It shouldn't be no being put on leave until the investigation. They should be immediately terminated. And then we need to ask our legislatures to come up with the law. Since they come up with every law for the people, then they need to come up with some kind of law to hold them accountable. Misdemeanor, felony, whatever they want to do or whatever they want to call it, they should come up with that. But Gina said they love using the delay tactic, currently under investigation. Until our investigation is complete, we cannot release that information because we currently investigating. Body cams are public. Yeah, it's just amazing how I think we as a people are to blame for a lot of these things that continue to happen to us as a people. When I say we as a people, I'm talking about all people, because all people vote. And, I guess rarely do you catch a person complaining when it's in their favor. So because it's not happening to their children as much as it's happening to our children, nobody chooses to join in the fight to make this right. Because in 2023, we shouldn't have to be having these type of conversations. And since we have to have these type of conversations, we shouldn't be censored and blocked from having these conversations and saying that they're hate speech or that, we're favoring one group over another. No, we're talking about real life issues, and the news go out to everybody. And if the news stories are here on YouTube, certainly we should be able to look at these stories and commentate about these stories. We should be able to talk about these issues. These issues affect our lives and our children's lives, because we say the children are our future. But what future do they have? We already live in desolate areas in the city. We have food deserts in the city where we don't have grocery stores where we can go and purchase fresh produce on a daily basis in most areas where we call it urban in the city. We have a lot of housing projects, and that's all we have is a project. But we don't have anything to help the children. We don't have recreation centers. The ones we do have are all closing down, but we don't have programs. I just read an article the other day about it's hard to find mentors. And they were talking about in the business world. Look at the mentors in our children's lives. Mentors are very good and they help. And of course, the parents have to help. But most parents have to work. And that does not relieve us of any of our duties or responsibilities as parents. But the 9 to 5 was designed for a reason. It really, 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 everything is designed, whether we believe that or not. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's not somebody just woo, 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 talking out the side of their neck. We live this every day. So it doesn't matter what you teach your child. Don't say anything, be polite, do what they say. You still get either beat upside the head, handcuffed in the back, tased on the side of the road, shot and killed, or as this young man, the last story I'm going to share, a little guy who's 16 years old, and he was accused of breaking a window. And this is a story I was able to speed up the volume on this. So I'm going to show this. And this video is a little longer than the other two. So we can stop it and speak about it. And this comes to us out of Chicago from CBS Chicago News number 2. And Regina said, my apologies. I only have so many characters to use within the chat. I sometimes have to remove spaces in order to make my commentary fit in the chat. No space is sometimes intentional. Oh, okay. Well, I tell you, whatever you say, it always makes sense. So do whatever you need to do, Regina. We greatly appreciate it. Everything is designed to serve a purpose. Nothing is by mistake or happenstance. And we have to start believing that. Coincidence. We have to. We got to start knowing what this stuff is. And as they love to say, we have a lot of cute little sayings, but they are sayings because they have meaning behind them. Call a thing a thing. No, call it what it is. And then let's deal with what it is. Everybody write articles about it. Everybody can talk about it but us as a people. And it's as if we are so afraid of the backlash that we don't stand for anything, but we love to talk about what we stand for. And I was taught, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And we've been falling for over 500 years. We should have a voice that matters. And if we have a system, which is the only system we have, and the best system, they say, in the world, that is in place, and we have people that represent us as a whole, then we should have a system to hold the people accountable. What good does it do us to teach our children discipline, self-restraint, kindness? We know that's the right thing to do, so we do things because it's the right thing to do. But when you're doing the right thing, and these things happen because you just look like somebody that they said was on the scanner, and then when you hear the recording of what they were looking for, the person that they have accosted looked nothing like whoever they claimed that they were looking for. That should not still be happening in 2023. And we have all this technology and face recognition, and that we can't keep going along with what's happening. And we're having to get involved. We got to make our voices heard. We got to, and we can do that by when we vote. Not just voting, because a lot of people say, just vote, just vote, just vote. What are we voting for? And nothing has changed. Since I've been voting, I've seen nothing. And, some would beg to differ with me. Well, we do this, that, and the other. But when you're trading off, when you're given this, and then something else take place, it's almost like the medication that we take for all these illnesses that we now have that we didn't have in the past. We used to use herbs and spices, from the backyard, from the garden. that cured almost any ill that we had. Now we have all of these medications, and with every medication we have, there are side effects that affects another part of our body. And we know, I know, that if I take something for an illness, it should cure the illness. Unfortunately, we take stuff to treat the illness and then causes something else to go awry. And so now we started out with this one sickness. Like I started out, I was told from birth, I had a 3rd-degree heart block. We didn't find out until after I gave birth to my son. And the pacemaker is the apparatus that's used to keep my heart functioning at a normal pace. But having the pacemaker, as long as I've had to have the pacemaker, weakened my heart, and now I'm in congestive heart failure. So these are brilliant ideas, I'm sure, at the beginning. But we've got to come up with ways to cure things and not just treat things. Because it seems in the treatment of things, it causes something else to go bad. So that's just one woman's opinion and my commentary. Now we're going to move to this final story that I want to share. And I thank everybody for staying and for hitting the like button. I certainly appreciate that. The last story comes from Chicago. And here we go. Let me see what Regina said first. Malcolm X spoke about the very same things that we continue to talk on today. So many voices have been demonized, true that, silenced, hidden, etc., to continue to keep certain people systemically oppressed. And the certain people have to first acknowledge that they are oppressed. Some people think because they make more money than they've ever made and can go into stores that they used to couldn't go into and drive the cars that they only dreamed of, they think they've arrived and they've made it. But we cannot say that when we have 95% of our people suffering, may even be 99, suffering because of the laws that are in place. You know, we are redlined to this day. You know, they used to have maps drawn out the red line district. So where we moved from Jim Crow into the civil rights, they just took away the evidence. You know, it's kind of like fate of the things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. But the evidence is there that we're still treated like we were when we were on the farm. They just took away the evidence. And then we have a semblance of what it feels like to perhaps buy a home. Most of us can't afford a home. And we just start looking at the real things in life that affect us all. And I know a lot of people come here for entertainment, but I guarantee you with the billions of people that frequent YouTube, they're coming to gain knowledge on how to do something they don't know how to do, how to be better at what they know how to do, and to learn and be entertained while they're learning. It's all a part of it. It can't just be about entertainment and the destruction of each other by some of the most unscrupulous things that are being done and that are being said. And people's integrity is being tested weekly. It goes on to the next big person. And the thing that that person must do in order to get that fame for 5, 15, 20 minutes, however long it lasts. And perhaps the person could be that person all along, but that's not the way the person presented themselves. Some people we do know are here presenting themselves just as that nothing, low life, and care about no one. But the majority of us, again, when we came together as one, we were in harmony one with another. We still don't know each other, but we all were able to be in a place where we all was respecting each other and had fun while we did it. We got to find a way to come together and start having not only the conversations, but developing the strategies on how to turn this thing around. And one of the reasons a lot of the politicians that we have, number one, they're going to be in the vast minority. That's why when they go to these houses, they're supposed to be able to work across the aisle. They're supposed to be able to friend each other so that they have each other's back, so that whenever someone presents a bill, they have enough support from the other side as well as their side to get the bill passed. Because we know we are the minority. We're called in number, but this is actually a place where we're the minority, and that's in Congress and the House. And that's in any state or the federal. So we have to learn strategies, since we don't have the monies that we can give the hundreds of dollars to fund campaigns like others. We got to find another way that we can be important enough where what we say counts. And if we don't get some of the things that we want, which is just an opportunity to live like an American, free of all craziness. You know, if you keep a person down, then you're guaranteed to have problems for the one that's up. And it's just amazing how it seems people don't see that. And they always like to remind us the poor will be with us always. You ought to want to know, why is that a statement? And why does it have to be true? You're going to always have someone that does better than someone else, and that's because of the effort that they put in. And so the reward should be greater. But we all should be on a level playing field, and we're not. And as long as we're not on a level playing field, then we'll be forever having, if not me, someone else come along and have these kind of talks 20 to 30 years from now. Nothing will change. We have to be the change that we want to see. We got to start participating in whatever way you can participate. Even if you're an individual who cannot vote, even if you're a child who's too young to vote, your voice matters. So you can speak it to the person that can't vote. A lot of us don't vote because we don't feel we have a need to vote, and we don't have nothing to vote for. And I'm so tired of the voting system, but the system can be changed. It's up to us to help make that change. Regina said social media, YouTube, was created for the purpose of allegedly different reasons based on its platform. However, they all serve one purpose, the social experiment, and feeds into control. That is so very true. And that's where all the censorship come in. And then whereas we have freedom of speech as a collective under the Constitution, First Amendment, we have company policy and procedure that can dictate what we can and can't say and do. And I am all for being against hate speech, being against trying to, come together to cause insurrection or to beat up somebody, or I'm all against that. But certainly we should be, as adults, able to have adult conversations using our analytical and critical thinking and coming up with solutions to things that we see as problems. But if you're not affected by the problem, then you don't care about the solution as much. But there are people who gave up their lives. And tell it again, Regina, nothing is free. With everything, there is a cost. Maybe not to you, but somebody's got to pay it. And so we need to start wondering, what's important for us? What are we willing to really stand for? We all say we stand for something, but we're all living in the same conditions that we've been living in for years. And no, I'm not the crusader of the world. I just came to do my part. You see, my part is so minuscule, but all it takes is one voice, and it could change the world. At least your world or my world. Just imagine if we all used our one voice and came on one accord. We don't have to sing Kumbaya and nothing else. We just have to work toward a common goal of justice, freedom, peace, love, and truth. We need to do that. I'm going to play the last video and then we'll be heading out. And I thank everybody who's still with me. And maybe some of the others will go back and see the video. But this young man, let's look at his story. This is a very sad story, and they all are sad. But this is such a young man. And I've already sped it up to 125, so we're going to listen to the news reporter. And again, this is the Chicago area police officer shoots an unarmed teen, blames weapon mix-up. And this is on Chicago CBS number 2, channel 2.
An unarmed 14-year-old suspected of breaking a window gets shot by police. The officer who fired later blamed the shooting on a mix-up, saying he used the wrong gun. CBS 2 investigator Dave Simeon video and reveals what went wrong.
How are you? Somebody called and complained about you guys. You guys were involved in something and damaging somebody's windows.
It's 8:50 in the morning. Quiet South suburban Sauk Village when these two kids, a boy and a girl, both 14, are stopped by police.
What? Okay, you guys got your IDs on you?
Officer Seth Brown starts questioning the 8th graders about a broken window in the neighborhood.
Do me a favor, keep your hands out of your pockets, bro. Just keep your hands out of your pockets. You're coming out here to see friends? Okay.
Police body cameras are rolling.
And let me just ask you, I know that there's a such thing as school ID, but how many 14-year-olds do you know carry ID? I mean, that within itself is an insult. But I digress.
What happened? And also show Sergeant Scott Langan talking to a woman in the street who suspects the teens damaged a window on her home the day before.
That's the boy that did it. I got a picture of him.
Who are they? Do you know who they are?
They know my nephew.
Sergeant Langan then approaches the teens who are still being questioned by Officer Brown.
Full name and date of birth, okay? I'm not going to play with you two. You understand me? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you.
But the situation quickly escalates.
Why are you touching me?
Put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest.
For what?
CDP. Arrested for CDP. What exactly is CDP? The boy's lawyers say the 8th grader definitely didn't know. It's an acronym for criminal damage to property.
I'm going to tell you something, dude.
His friend then starts recording it all with her phone.
Listen.
Or it'll be another charge.
You understand me?
There'll be another charge, man. Then listen to the conflicting messages from the different officers. One saying you'll be let go. The other, you'll be tased.
Right now, curb word against your way.
But then Officer Brown stays true to his word and uses his taser on the 8th grader, who starts screaming in pain.
They use the taser on what's known as a pain setting. The only purpose of using the pain setting is to cause maximum pain to the individual.
Attorneys Gabe Hardy and Al Hofeld Jr. filed a lawsuit against the Sauk Village Police Department.
And listen to that, y'all. We have a lot of these cases where there's more than one officer and they give more than one command. More than one command. One officer said that we're going to let you go. The other officer said, do this or I'm going to tase you. So who do you listen to? Just a question I ask. I turned it up in case you guys can't hear it too good.
For the teen, we are not naming. But it didn't end with the taser. Here's what happened next. While being shocked by the taser, the teen runs. Then watch as Sergeant Langan pulls his duty weapon from his holster on his right side, a .40 caliber Glock. He aims it and fires.
.40 caliber Glock. I don't know anything about guns, but I know if you are a person that owns a firearm, you know what type of firearm you own. You know how it feels when you put it in your hand. You know what it looks like when you have your arm extended. And if you can see your nose, you can see your hand extended with a .40 caliber Glock in your hand. But let's listen to the story.
Here's another view. The bullet rips through the hip. These photos were taken at the hospital.
Should a handgun have ever been pulled out and fired in this situation?
Absolutely not. It was excessive, completely unnecessary. There was no justification whatsoever for this officer immediately drawing his firearm and shooting this 14-year-old kid.
The teen, now bleeding, runs from the officers.
Dude.
Sergeant Langan catches up, and this time pulls out his taser as the teen jumps a fence.
Go around the block. You ran around the block.
What was this 14-year-old thinking while he was shot and hiding in a yard somewhere?
He was afraid they were coming after him. He was afraid they were going to shoot him again.
They shot him once for no reason. Why would they not shoot him again?
Why did Sergeant Langan shoot? 2 weeks after this March of 2022 incident, Langan was questioned by state police and Cook County prosecutors. In this report obtained by the CBS 2 investigators, he claimed the shooting was an accident. He said he thought he grabbed his taser and didn't realize he grabbed his gun, and stated, "I'm completely sorry. I feel like I let everyone down."
Now, do y'all really believe that he felt the weight of the taser or the weight of the gun, and that he could not tell the difference in the way it looked, the way it felt in his hand, and what it would do once he pulled the trigger? Unbelievable.
I have nothing else to say.
Do you think he should have known that he had a handgun in his hand?
He certainly should have known he had a handgun in his hand. He pulled the weapon from the holster that holds his handgun.
Keep in mind, handgun in this case, the Glock, is nearly 5 times the weight of the taser.
Reckless?
Beyond reckless. And that is complete disregard and recklessness by you, the officer, not only endangering the individual that you are firing at, but the public in general.
Where he had kept his gun and his taser mattered. Take a look at this photo showing the sergeant's vest. It shows where he carried his taser. Then look at Officer Brown's gear. He had a separate holster on the other side of his body for his taser. There was a life-saving reason for this. A year earlier, Minnesota, to make sure this type of incident didn't happen in Dock Village, the police chief required officers to move their tasers to the opposite side of their body from their handgun, said Langan in his statement. But Langan just kept his taser Velcro to the front pouch of his vest.
When that officer made the decision to pull that handgun out of the holster,
yes,
he was pulling it from a side of his body where the taser was never supposed to be.
Correct. And when he extends it out in front of him, it's within his, in fact, it's within his direct line of sight. So he sees the weapon before he pulls the trigger.
There seems to be other taser-related issues. Sergeant Langan said the department gave him taser training only 2 or 3 times in the 10 years he carried one. But this department policy says, at a minimum, officers should be trained every year.
Hey, what's going on, man?
The man with his hands up is the boy's guardian. He showed up on the scene after the injured teen, still hiding, called him to tell him shy police.
The ambulance is coming to check him out, okay? All right.
As paramedics arrive, the guardian begins asking police more questions.
No, everything's on body cam, okay? Like the whole incident is okay.
Even the emergency medical technician started asking questions.
They trying to say that one of y'all shot him or something.
All right.
Then the teen's handcuff is removed.
Hey, let me take that handcuff off.
And then he was transported to the hospital and treated for his gunshot wound. The broken window was never brought up again.
Do they ever arrest this 14-year-old?
They never arrest him. They never charge him. They never cite him.
Dude.
It's like it never happened?
It's like it never happened. And it looks and feels like contrition because they know, because they shot him unjustifiably.
It's now been a year and a half since the shooting, and the police department has yet to even start the disciplinary process. Last month, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office decided not to charge Sergeant Langan. The Sauk Village Police Chief says he was waiting on that decision before taking any action. Dave Savini, CBS 2 Investigators.
An unarmed 14.
There you have it. This is our America the Beautiful. Land, they say, of the free and home of the brave. I say land of the free and home of the slave. At what point does the Casual Killing Act of 1669 stop being in effect? Okay, Ass, I hope you got to see that story. If not, you'll catch the replay. Regina said, I hadn't heard about this case. So the cop used his taser on a teenager and then shoots the teenager without a command in the back. Yes, he shot him in the hip, and the young man was still managed to run. It was amazing how he was able to jump that fence and hide. Nobody ever has grabbed a gun thinking it was a taser. They weigh totally different, not to mention how it feels. Shaking my head. Same thing I said, Asatar. The quitter said crazy. It seems like everything is done now by street justice. And, you know, the times of vigilantism and, you know, cowboys in the streets with the, you know, shoot 'em up, bang, bang is over. We have supposedly laws to protect us as individuals. Where is our protection? We hold the parents to such a standard that no matter what you do and teach your child, no matter how decent your child is, and although that lady accused this young man, everyone is presumed innocent. And we should really start looking at the presumption of innocence. I think there are 7 presumptions. I put it in a video, and I may do that again. Just make another video and talk about that. But we need to start understanding the effects of the things that are being held against us so that we will know how to combat them, and we can do it with honor and dignity. But we're losing our children, and if they're not dying, certainly they're going to be so scared to death. Who could, you know, have a normal life after this? And it's 8 in the morning and you're walking to go see a friend. Who expect a walk to go see a friend to turn out to being tased twice at 14, shot in the hip from the back, and the police officer is not charged with anything? It just didn't happen. Regina said, then the police claims he made a mistake with the shooting. Stop. First, he never should have used a taser. Sick of the ridiculous excuses these people use. So much money and time used to defend. Yeah. And those are going to be the winners in all of this. All the attorneys. If that's my family member, then someone in his family needs to get the same treatment. Unfortunately, we can't do that. As Catchy said, this is unfortunate. Was he paralyzed? I haven't seen a follow-up story, and they didn't say. I guess I would have to just look and read some more to see, because now it just never happened. And that's a good question, Laquita. I don't know. And I know a lot of people stopped watching the news because of the gloom and doom that it presents. But we as a people need to know really what's going on, because we too could be victims of the very same thing. Law abiding citizens just trying to get from point A to point B are met with these type of situations. And so we really, really, really need to start having real conversations with people that we know that are voters, see where they stand, who they're looking at voting for, what those people stand for. Just give them some education. And you don't have to tell them who to vote for or whatever, but you can point them, because so many of us will not read and don't know, and they still may not read. But when you share things of this nature, sometimes it compels you to want to do something different, maybe to do something great. And perhaps you can just speak to, if you speak to 20 people and only 2 people hear you, some people say 1, then that's a move in the right direction. But we have to start having real conversations, adult conversations. And Laquita said, it's sad in Chicago. What they're doing there is horrible. Not just police, but kids killing innocent people, and for gangs. Yeah, and I spoke on that. When you give us the condition to be in gangs, why are the kids in gangs? So we got to look at what cause and effect. If we just look at the effect of something, then we're not looking with clear eyes. Most children are in gangs because when we got the Civil Rights Act of 1964, then we also got 501c3s. This is written in Congress. This is nothing that I'm making up. It's not a theory. It's in action. And it starts in the home, but when you remove the father from the home, and that's what they did to our families. You see, we used to didn't hear people talk about that. That was just a conversation for all of us in our homes. But it is now being talked about everybody. We have to look at the whole situation in its totality. If I take away your covering, oh, Uncle Suge gifted me 5 members. Yay! So some of you guys are going to come members. I can't see it over there. Hopefully it'll be you guys. I know sometimes when someone gives him members, it always pick people out of the bushes. So I hope it picks some of you guys that are in here, because we don't get to pick. The computer does it for us. So I hope you guys are one of the lucky ones that get picked. But when we look at, if we don't look at the cause of something, then we really can't speak on the effect of it. It's like I said a moment ago, most of us that live in urban areas, which we call that the city, most people call it the ghetto, we don't even have adequate medical facilities. A lot of us don't have insurance. Of course, that's not my issue, but I have to include me because I am a part of the group that live in the hood. We have to go miles to get food. If you want vegetables, we don't have the fruit stands like they had when I was growing up. When the farmers came to town and went to the market, and you could go downtown and get your vegetables. Oh, they have markets now, but it's so different than it was when I was growing up. It's so different. And it's so sad. Okay. So let's see. We got to come up with witty ways. When they came up with bringing the fathers out of the home so that the mothers could get welfare, that's the only way that we could get help as mothers. Our husbands had to leave. And, it saddens me sometimes, and yet it's a beautiful sight to see husbands and wives who've been together for 50, 60 years. You see the seniors walking in the grocery stores, down the street, at the doctor's office. The husband is accommodating his wife, and I should say accompanying and not accommodating, but he may be accommodating too. But he's definitely accompanying his wife to the doctor's office, or she, vice versa. When you look at have everything that you know to be good taken away from you. And so many of our children are what we call latchkey children, because the mothers, even though they used to get welfare and the fathers were taken out of the home, now it's almost impossible to get welfare because there are so many restrictions and conditions. And then what do? You have babies. You have mouths to feed. You got to live. And everybody is not college material. And then we have a lot of there was a time when the trade schools came along. And that was like in the late 70s through the early 90s. And a lot of those trade schools were not producing people that could get out and get a job like they should. They were just financial based. You got a loan to go to that school. Next thing you know, you go to class, the school closed down. You don't even get to finish. And now you have this big loan with your name on it. And nobody will help relieve you of that debt. You owe that debt, and that debt determines how you're going to live the rest of your life. If you don't pay it off, it's a possibility you won't be credit worthy. You may not be able to get a job. So we have so many things against us, and that's a lot of people, I know. But we have so many things against us. Asatar, great. Catchy, great. Great. I see that some people we do know got them. Hey, Maria, you made it. Everybody already know, and everybody tried to remind me to make sure that I wake you up. So I'm glad you were able to make it. I told them how hard you've been working. Regina said, what we should always be doing is teaching our children our history and truths. And that is the best thing I've heard. Truths. We should always be preparing the children, passing along knowledge, talking to the children, and encouraging thinking. And when we encourage thinking, that means we need to also get them back to reading. They need to have a library. They need to have books. Although some kids, actually, my little nephew, I call him an indigo child, but ever since that young man has been privy to have a tablet, a phone, a computer, he plays games like all other children. Yes, he does. But sometimes you think he's in there playing a game. He's in there looking up words. He's in there looking at science. He's in there learning Martin Luther King's speeches. I mean, this is amazing, and I love it. I'm sure many children do it, but this is one who I've seen do it. You have to keep teaching. We were a people that passed our history down by word of mouth. That's how we knew who we were. That's one of the reasons why we stay separated. But if we know who we are, look at the brilliance of our people. If you go back and look at everything that we know of that's been invented, we're at the forefront of that. We've done the doing. And today, the only thing we know that we do is cook and sell dope and rob and kill each other. That's not who we are as a people. That's a condition of the way we live, as a condition of our lives. We have more incarcerated people in prison than anybody. Used to be more men Now we have almost equal amount of women, and most go in their childbearing years. Why is that? Why don't we know that? And why aren't we questioning that? Why don't we want to know why our conditions are the way they are? I understand we're in an age of it's all about me and what I do and what I say. I understand all of that. But we have to get past that. We see us dying before our eyes. Who knows when it may be one of us? You know, it's really sad to say this is sad for them. Who knows when our loved ones, or we might be the ones who saying it's sad for what happened to us. And it does start in the home. It does. That's where the foundation is laid. The homes are so overwhelmed. Domestic violence is at an all-time high. And this is Domestic Violence Month. Well, we should be aware of that. And even with the domestic violence, a lot of that comes with the conditions. Remember, I talked about how we all came together because we talked about the emasculating of the male and the feminizing of the male. Well, sometimes we, as mothers, as women, as matriarchs, because we've had to be so strong. Dick Gregory said something that I totally agree with. He said, our women are the only women in the world who are not referred to as being beautiful. When anyone referred to us, and even ourselves, with the exception of me, because like I told you, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but when I look in the mirror, the most beautiful girl in the world is staring back at me. So I don't have that issue, but as a whole, as a people, all we hear about our women, well, that's a good, strong black woman. Oh, she's really strong. No, she's powerful. She's beautiful. She's humble. And then some of us are raunchy. But even that came at a price. You know, it's I guess we could say people innately are bad, evil. At least if we were taught everybody was a sinner. I don't buy into that like I used to. That may be a true statement. I don't know. But I'm not buying into that. I think all of our behavior is learned. And so if you're in an environment that's full of hatred, full of insecurity, full of pain, what can you get out of that but what you see and what you live to be? Some children, believe it or not, are so loving and they come out so happy. And you be wondering, how is that child always so happy? Because we have us. We have a piece of our father, a piece of our mother, and then there is you. And I'm going to say it again, as I've said from the outset of me coming on YouTube, it's a you factor. At some point, you have to see something. If you know something's not right, you have to make it right and do whatever it takes to make it right. This side of right, not do whatever it takes wrong. I see a lot of people make a lot of wrong decisions when they could have made the right one. I don't know why they choose to do wrong. But again, it's a condition of your environment. I think we need to get back to reading, get back to books. I mean, our children don't dare dream of the places. I don't know about you guys. I'm not even a traveler as an adult, but as a kid, you know, you used to see the Eiffel Tower, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, you know, these things that we hear about, and the lagoons over in Italy, the mountains in Switzerland, and you saw those things through books, through pictures. Now you can actually virtually be there on YouTube. But we need to go back to, as Regina spoke of, encouraging our children to think and to use their imagination. We are bombarded with so many things outside of us that it takes away and makes us dummy down our creativity. And if we don't have nothing else, we have creativity. That's what made a lot of things come to be. That's what did it. It's like Uncle Sugar was showing some of his older videos and some of the things when he first came to YouTube. And he didn't have those great editing skills then. He hadn't went on and pursued his education. And he started learning. And he liked it. And he saw things. And then he went and learned of it. And then he started using it. And we know where he is today, where it's taking him. It's the same for all of us. The sky is the limit for anyone who dare to dream, write the vision down, and work a plan. A lot of people have vision boards. Our children don't even know what a vision board is. They're taught tests today. They're not taught to use their mind for creativity. They're taught if you don't pass this test, you're not passing this grade. So very unfortunate, but it's the reality. Asatar said, if they thought we could, they would stop doing this to our kids. They don't fear the consequences of their actions because there are no consequences. Even when people sue, it's the city that they sue. And that is so correct, Asatar. So very correct. That's why if we're going to claim voting, we need to make it count. Not just to put somebody in office that somebody give us a whole lot of promises. If they don't act upon the promises that they say they're going to give us, and one thing we've done as a people with our vote, we don't require people to do anything. We don't give them an agenda, but we do claim when we don't get anything from them. Nobody give us anything. You have not because you ask not, and you demand not. Your vote should demand something, and we should see the result of it. And if we don't see the result of it, the same block of people that put that person in office should be the same block of people that campaign to get rid of them. It can be done. And the way you do it is by people coming together, petitioning, and getting them removed from office. See, if you won't do what we need you to do, we'll find someone that will. At the rate we're going, we're not grooming up our children to become politicians so that they could even compete for the positions. Now, we do understand, even as a politician, they work in a system that's far greater than them. But in anything, there is an equal balance if you call it into being. As long as you allow one side to be greater than the other, you're doing yourself a disservice. But a lot of us do that. We do that in relationships one with another. We have a lot of one-sided relationships where one of us is giving more than the other. No matter whatever it is, it could be our time, it could be our conversation, it could be our money, it could be our body, it could be whatever it is one person needs. One is giving more than the other. If there is not a balance, then you don't have a relationship. You have a ship that's sinking fast. That's what you have. I mean, at some point, you're going to have to abandon, jump ship, or go down with the ship. The choice is yours. We blame things on things that are not there. We blame a lot of our problems on things that are not there because we dare not take responsibility for who we are. There's no way a man and a woman lay down and have children shouldn't be able to converse with one another. You don't ever have to stay together if you choose not to. But you should have a love for that child should be much greater than the hate for how you came up and the things that you missed out on life. You swore your child wasn't going to go through that. But because all you can remember is the pain that you came up on, your focus is on the wrong thing. And you're not focusing on the child and how it could be better. You're focusing on the little child that's in you. And see, we don't want to deal with the little girl and the little boy that's inside of us. But I guarantee you, until you deal with that one, you're not going to ever be able to deal with anyone outside of you. Until you help that little girl, that little boy that lives in you heal And it's a process. Doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. But until you face that person and then forgive those that disappointed you, that let you down. That's why the Toxic Parent series was so good. And I think I'll just read a couple of those and put them out on video, those chapters. Until you deal with the pain, the shame, the guilt, the insecurity, the fear. You know, we're taught there's nothing to fear but fear itself. We know we were taught God didn't give you the spirit of fear, but we walk around in fear every day. And with good reason. It's a lot of things that ought not be happening that's happening every day. Every day. We've got to do better. If we say the children are our future, and they are, but at the rate we're going, our future is dying out because officers are accidentally pulling out guns instead of tasers. Why would you pull out either one for a 14-year-old kid and you're an adult? Why? Because everybody is not there to protect and serve. You know, we have people that are not good people in all walks of life, not just in the boardroom, not just in the bedroom, not just in the classroom, in every room. You know, the white sheets, the cone hats, a lot of them traded them for the Armani suits. Yeah, and the Vera Wang dresses. And then people I don't know, I ain't even no designer collar. That's just some old ones I remember people talking about. Y'all may know some new designers. Put their name on it. Matter of fact, put any name on it. But they've changed the wardrobe. You see, when they were taking down all the monuments and changing all the names of the schools, that meant nothing to me. I don't care nothing about Oliver Wendell Holmes, where I went to junior high school, having slaves, so I want to change the name of the school. No, I want the spirit and the mentality of Oliver Wendell Holmes to change. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. You know, he put us in took away the gold standard and gave us the Federal Reserve notes. I want those kind of things, the spirit, the actions of the person. I don't care nothing about no statue. We have sculptors. My father-in-law have sculptures all over the world. He was a prodigy, and I'm going to do a show about him and show some of his work. It means nothing if you don't understand where it comes from. It comes from inside of you, and then you have to pull it out. It's there. And we keep allowing things and people to dummy us down and suppress who we are. You're different. Dare to be different. Phyllis Goddaughter wrote a book. Being different makes you unique. And everything is beautiful in its own way. Nobody may not ever call you beautiful, but if you can't look in the mirror and call you beautiful, shame on you. And I need you to quit living in shame. Just try it. Try it, even if you don't buy it. Even if you don't believe what you're saying. Say it until you do. It's a matter of our thinking. And sometimes our best thinking get us in the worst situations. But all we have is our thinking. And I understand it's written, lean not to your own understanding. You better get an understanding. You need to get an understanding. How can two walk together except they agree? My daddy taught me arguing, that's what a disagreement is. So I don't agree to disagree with nobody. If we disagree and I see we're not going to come to a consensus, we move on. We ain't got to agree to disagree. That's just something cute to say. That's something to have somebody resenting you and harboring resentment when they don't have to. Because I'm not going to change, you're not going to change. Let's just move on. That shouldn't be the reason why we can't get along, because we didn't agree on that issue. What about all them issues we do agree on? They don't mean anything. That's what this type of life teaches us. A life of poverty teaches us to stay focused on the poverty. And it's very hard not to. You got to make a conscious decision to do something different, to dare to dream, dare to hope, dare to think. Like I said, that's why I made the little song from Kim. I wish I could sing a little bit better because I love that song. See, a mother's love, when you have the love of your mother, she see what you can be when you run around here stealing cars or breaking in stores or selling dope or whatever you do. And can't nobody see no good in you. Your mama does. Why? Because you came from her. And no matter how she and the man that created you were getting along, for her, you were her lifeline. Believe that. Even if your mother wasn't able to love you the way you know a kid should be loved, there had to be something that happened in her life that caused her to be the way that she is. And a lot of that is how we end up forgiving bad behavior. And it's nothing wrong with forgiving bad behavior if the behavior changes. But we can't allow the bad behavior to keep on going and going and going and nothing changed. Some say they call that insanity. I call it bullshit. There comes a time in one's life that one must take responsibility for themselves. Whether you're paying for yourself or not, in your train of thinking, you gotta start owning up to who and what you are. Things do not make you who and what you are. Those are things you acquired being who you are. And if you think the things make you who you are, you're in for a rude awakening. All you gotta do is lose them. You'll lose yourself. But when you know who you are, you can lose everything you had 5 times over and get them again. Because you know who you are. You are who your mother created you to be. You are. As the Torah said, we can't even touch their pensions. They have 0 repercussions for their mistakes. As the Torah said, extra thank you for the membership, bruh. I'm ecstatic. I know that means a lot to you, Esatar. It means a lot to me too. Because we both know why you were not already a member. So that's awesome. Sugar, I can't thank you enough. Regina said it's too much intentional brainwashing and conditioning, and some cannot begin to comprehend. So much unnecessary foolishness, so much ignorance. And that is so true, Regina. And one thing I learned, it's just like when they teach you in the church, everybody ain't going. Everybody ain't going to get to heaven, as they call it. And everybody ain't going to go with you wherever it is you're trying to go. So you got to purpose in your mind and your heart that everybody don't want what you want. And they have a right not to want nothing. But you shouldn't allow them to cost you for the things that you want. See, it's all right for you not to want nothing, for you not to work, for you not to do nothing. Just know that that's your choice. And then you love them according to their choices. You see, the world is really, really, really unfair. It's really, really hard for us. That's because we don't know who we are and how great we are. I ain't talking about no kings, no queens. I'm not talking about none of that. I'm talking about our bloodline, our pedigree, who we are, our heritage. You know, everybody talks about heritage, which is a derivative of inheritance. And a lot of us don't know anything about that. We don't know about estates and trusts. And we feel we don't have one and we don't have any. O ye of little faith and little knowledge. It is written and it's been codified in the statutes. There's so much we don't know. And all we have to do now in this information age, and Uncle Suge had his new iPhone, and old Bill Gates Jr., which is what I call my son, gave me an iPhone 13 Pro Max or whatever it is. I don't even know the name and the functionality, but I know it is a jewel. But anyone with Android, I used to have the Note 5. That's what he bought me before he moved me up to the iPhone, the Galaxy. And that's been many years ago. But no matter what you have the ability to go to Google, the second largest employer in the world, and ask a question. This is the information age. None of us should be ignorant today. Whether we hold a degree, a diploma, or certificate, that should never stop you from seeking knowledge. Many people hold degrees, certificates, diplomas, and they're living under the bridge, out of their cars. They don't have houses, not because they didn't have the knowledge, not because they didn't have the desire. We live in a system that cares not what you do. You have to do right because it's the right thing to do, not because somebody might do something if you didn't. You have to do right when ain't nobody looking. My daddy taught us, and I live by this, the truth will get you killed just as quick as a lie. So sometimes you gotta lie. And then people will say, ooh, well, if you go over, and I don't know the scripture, but I'm sure Fictitious does. But if you go over there in that Old Testament, they tell me that the Lord sent a lying spirit to have his mission accomplished. So it's a time and a season for everything under the heavens if you believe. You got to do more than believe. At some point, you got to start knowing. And you should know that by the actions of the person that you deal with. Whether you know that person personally or not, it doesn't take much to know a person. We tell each other who we are all the time. Most of us don't listen because that old saying, as it is spreading around this little old YouTube, it's all about who we like. Well, I'm going to tell you what I knew before I heard that saying. We all excuse the behavior of those that we like and love. We do that. Some more than others. Some you care for a little more than others, so you'll let get away with more than others. That's a human thing. There's no human that doesn't do that. Not even the one telling you the story. It's a human thing. We all do that. So that ain't nothing to look at and tell me, ooh, I got to stop doing that. You're not going to. You could be cognizant of it. You could be very aware. And when you find yourself doing that, you can stop the behavior because that's behavior. And we know there's not all of nothing, so I don't want to accuse every single person that lives now and that ever lived and that ever will live to do any of this, because we know it's not all of nothing. We have to go with how life is. Regina stresses it, and just her conversation, her vernacular is so comforting, the way she can describe something, so concise and to the point, but so respectful and humble. We got to learn to be like that. I'm a drama queen. I'm humble, I'm respectful, but I'm downright sometimes just plain old ghetto. Ugh, I am. I know that. It is good to know who you are. If you don't know nobody else in this life, the person you ought to want to know most is you. Because everything is about you. Don't let nobody tell you it's not. You know, some people are trying to tell you, you think everything is about you. It is, from your perspective, not nobody else's. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying think more higher of yourself than you ought. Don't do that. Ain't nothing wrong with you thinking high of yourself. That's how you get there. Attitude determines altitude. It does. And everything is measured by longitude and latitude. We need to know that. Our people came up with that. We need to understand how things work. An almanac is a good book to have, to know how and when to grow. We got to commend the ones who actually do that. We got to know that's something great. Everybody is not going to do the same things, and that's okay. You don't have to do what I do. Do you, as R. Kelly would say, boo-boo. Do you. And then be the best you that you can be. Don't compromise who you are for nobody. Because as I love to share, we all fall short of other people's expectations. Sometimes even our own. So while you're trying to prepare to be the best you for somebody else, just when you get there, they change their mind. And they need you to be something else. And it will shatter your world. Because you tried to be all that you could be for somebody that wasn't you. You got to be all that you can be for you. And if you're true to yourself, I guarantee you'll be true to others. And they will either accept you or they will reject you. Or they will misuse you and abuse you. But that decision for any of that to happen is yours. Nobody else's. You have to decide. And there's a scripture that is written. And I believe Joshua said it, but you know, I'm like muddy. I can mess up a story. It says, as for me and my house, Joshua said he's going to serve the Lord. As for he and his house. I believe the same thing, but I just believe the Lord is different than who he does. But it's only one. It's only one you. Ain't no duplicate of you. It's only one. All encompassing. It's only one. Find her or him. Just like Dorothy with the Wizard of Oz. She went to sleep and woke up in a nightmare. And by the end of the road, the yellow brick road that is, she realized all she had to do was click her heels, and she never left home. There's no place like home. A lot of people laugh and talk about people's homes. Don't be disturbed by the laughter and the talking about. See, I don't care how many square feet you have. You can only cover the footage that you stand in. No matter how many toilets you have, you can only sit down on one at a time. No matter how many sinks, stoves, or refrigerators, one at a time. Don't be moved by people's laughter and what they say. Feel the pain of it. I'll never tell a person not to feel the pain of it. Don't be moved. See, we all got to feel what we feel because we were given those emotions by our Creator. We actually do feel, those of us that have feelings. And that is the ones that comes from our brain and the ones that comes from the human touch. It is written that those who have eyes, let them see. And those who have ears, let them hear. You should really do that. You should really listen to people and hear what they're saying to you. It might not be what you think they're saying. This is the first place I came in the metaverse. People told me I was a subliminal queen. Didn't know I was so subliminal. No, but I'm intuitive and I pick up on a lot. You see, I'm that person that hear what you say and hear what you don't say and what you was thinking you was going to say before you mind to say what you said to me. I hear all of that. I don't always use it. So I get had like everybody else. I get fooled like everybody else. But I'm so into me. I know it. I see it. Sometimes I can prevent it and I don't. Sometimes I can't prevent it because I don't. But when I do, I recognize, acknowledge, accept, and take action. That's AAA. Acknowledge, accept, and take action. It's not a hard thing to do. It's a painful thing to do. Pain and hard are two different things. We misuse words, and words are very important. I suggest that you start looking up words. I'm talking about words you use every day, your everyday common words. I suggest that you just refamiliarize yourself with words. Words you learned from the very beginning. 2-letter words, of, at. 3-letter words, the. You would be surprised, and you would be amazed, and you would laugh at yourself and others when you really start doing these things. I promise you, it's really something. Learning. Never, if you can help it, stop learning. Even when you don't want to learn. Be open to the possibility. I think that we have been here long enough. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for coming and for staying. We're on the last leg of what we're trying to do, my sister and I. And I am so grateful that I had the opportunity to do this. And I'm even more grateful that she has the fortitude, the desire, the will, the courage, and the power to stand for herself. There's no greater feeling that it gives me to help somebody that's willing to help themselves. I can't always help financially. I do that too. But what I can do is what's in me. I give freely. They say if you do what you love, don't worry about the money, it'll come. I have $11 million. Now, how I'm going to make it work, don't worry about it. I'm working on it. And it will work. I don't have a penny of that today. But it's okay. Because I didn't get into it for $11 million. Who knew me coming on YouTube was going to get me? Actually, it's 13 million, not 11. I wrote the wrong thing, and I just haven't amended it at this time. But who knew $13 million would come out of this? But it has. And I'm grateful and I'm humbled. I'm grateful for everybody that shows up, that donates, that hit the like button, that talks in the chat, that leaves a comment. It means a lot to me. There's not a lot I'm going to do. And that's who I am. But what I do well. And I do it to the best of my ability. Every now and then I get it wrong. But for the majority of the time, because of what I put into it, it comes out to perfection. For that issue, every time. So I say, Alicia, news and sports, keep telling the news and sports. Even if you don't know anything about the news and sports, you can read about it and you can tell a story. You can sing. You can sing it out. Whatever you do it because it makes you happy. As long as you're not hurting anybody and allowing anyone to hurt you. That's what this life is about. The crowd, they're going to follow the next hot thing. It ain't going to last long. So enjoy it while it's there. Because there's a time for everything. Don't miss your moment. Because everybody hates that you have a moment. Because everybody is searching for their moment. And who knows what that moment will be. Don't allow the moment to change who you are. Because you may not be able to recover from it when the moment passes on by. My daddy said, never get too excited about good. Enjoy it while it's there. Because bad is sure to follow. And don't never let bad overtake you. Because this too shall pass. Life is a circle. It's a cycle. It comes, it goes. It ebbs, it flows. You have to know the balance of it all. So Alicia Toe asks to stop hating. All you have to do is ask me to give you a fade on that patch. What patch? Y'all going too far with it. I came in the middle of something I don't know nothing about. Leave me alone, ass. So Alicia, I hardly have her. I don't need you epping up the rest of my hair. Patch it off. You see, that's a man who knows who he is and love it. Boy, I love that. Regina says, does anyone have Netflix? Yes. If so, a good series to watch is The Fall of the House of Usher. If you know Edgar Allan Poe, The Raven, you will love it. I know I did. I know of The Raven, but I don't even think I ever read The Raven. But that sounds like something good to check out. When I hear the House of, I think of the House of Cards. And I really hate that Kevin Spacey got caught up in what he got caught up in, if that's true. Because I truly did love that series. So I'm going to have to check that out. So Asatar said, Alicia, don't make me have to time you out for 10 seconds. Y'all know y'all going to be timing each other out, so y'all do what y'all do. Asatar said, Regina, when I get a chance, I'm going to watch it. Is it a series? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, she said it's a series. It's a good series to watch. Yes, sir, Asatar, it is. Say that again, Toothless. People misusing words or misusing the true meaning of them. That is so true. And they get caught up in a lot of stuff they don't even have to be in. They didn't even understand, or understand, comprehend what was being said. It's just like I misread what Tim Sweeney said. He kept saying, drop a like. And I'm up here talking about drop a link. I'm so glad you corrected me on that. I got my eyes with no cataracts. I got my glasses on like they told me to when I'm on the computer. I'm seeing real good, I'm thinking. And the second time I said link and the man said like. He trying to get people to pump me up. And I'm up here talking about the link. Words are very important. Choose them wisely. I suggest that you get your children and yourself dictionaries. And it was asked of a scholar, how many dictionaries should one own? As many as you can find. The older, the better. And I'm told that you can find the older ones, and especially the law books, because they're good too, at a lot of estate sales. Like if you see, that's why it's good to get the paper. I tell the people I know to get their children the newspaper and make them read it from front to back. I don't know how many people do that, but I will tell them that, because that's how you can build your vocabulary. You see, we all love cussing, and I know we do in my family because my daddy was a cusser, and we were fortunate to be with our daddy. So I love cussing, but I also love words. And so I was a reader, and you learn words. Never go past a word you don't know. And nowadays, if you can't pronounce a word, ask Google. They have a whole section, and it sounds in whatever voice you need to hear it in, because some of them are foreigners and I don't understand nothing they're saying, but you can get it in English, and you can find the voice that you can understand. And if you can't pronounce it, then just write it in there, how to pronounce. I've seen two of the guys that I like and look at, listen to as scholars, but I almost, want to just slap them upside the head and quit listening to them for the rest of my life. One said the word credibility, and that just blew me away. And when I was telling my son about it, he told me, oh, okay, here you go, the word police. Siren. I told him, yeah, ring it again, because I'm damn sure the word police. And I found since I've been on YouTube, I've messed up more words than I ever have in my entire life, because I'm a connoisseur of words. I love words. Don't know a lot of them, but I know words. So I have thoroughly enjoyed you guys. I welcome my new members. Hopefully some of you can remain members. If you can't, I love you for being here for this month. Thanks to Uncle Shug. I appreciate that. That helps me as a content creator and my page. And it really means a lot. It does. Bree, I'm happy to see you here, and you're still here. Yo, we gotta help our babies. We gotta help them. No matter how far they go one way, we gotta find a way to bring them back to what we know we want for them, because they don't know what life has to offer. We have an idea. We've seen a lot. We may not have got to partake in it, but we've seen it. We know what it looks like. Some of us have even had the time and the experience to know what it feels like. And it's an awesome feeling to be able to do things you thought you'd never be able to do. My oldest sister has been all over the world, and that was compliments of her son. His first job, making $5 something an hour, just graduated college. He had flying privileges and was able to take his mom anywhere her heart desired. And she didn't want to go many places, but she's been on a continent or two. She got to go and see the beautiful flowers. She loved flowers and trees of Hawaii. She got to go to Australia. She got to go to London, Paris. She got to see some Aborigines. She got to be a part of that. Never in a million years did she dream she would get to fly first class, coming from another continent. And she met an executive making bukus of money. And she sat next to him. And he looked at her with a little disdain and a little curiosity. And he had to know, how did she end up in first class? And they had a conversation all the way across the waters. And he almost moved them to tears after she shared what her son was able to give her. And her son was in coach. That man was so moved. He feels like me. When a son loves a mother, it's a very special thing. We anticipate our daughters loving us, although most mothers and daughters, for whatever reason, allow the world to make them have an estranged relationship. I don't know how envy and jealousy can come into a daughter and mother's relationship. You gotta see your daughter as yourself, but you can't live vicariously through her. You have to guide her. You have to help her, build her esteem, and be all that she can be. You can't envy her. You would lose her. But a son, you see, the daughter is the mini-me. The son is the me that I created that I can't explain, the phenomenal. Because why? Our body parts are different. And the son loves his mother with every fiber of his being. That's the son that's privileged to know his mother. So he may love the woman he called mother, who didn't even give birth to him, because she too is a mother. We got to really learn our history so we can really learn how we really are supposed to be as a people. This stuff that we see going on here, that everybody loves to clout the room and give the money, so very sad. That's how we choose to show the world that we entertain ourselves. And then we get angry when people call us monkeys in the trees. And we act like piranhas, monkeys, snakes. Anything we can do to destroy each other, we're willing to do, as long as you put a donation up there. It's so sad. Whew, it's so sad. But as long as you do what you do, because that's what you do it to the best of your ability. But there really are consequences. And perhaps we won't be the one to give it to you. But my auntie, Karma, she will visit you when you least expect it. When you've forgotten about the hurt and pain that you caused others, she will visit you. And guess what? You gonna know who she is. You ain't gonna have to wonder. You will know. I guarantee it. Esther said you can write it on the restroom wall at the salon. Whatever they talking about. Oh, now she wants to shave his back. Y'all crazy. I ain't lying. Y'all crazy. Y'all funny. I better stay out y'all conversation. Ain't no need to be lying. I better stay out y'all conversation. Regina said we all can make unintentional mistakes. Tell the truth. And when we do, we welcome those that correct us. Hopefully we will. Those that don't are closed-minded or intentionally said or did what they said or did. Boy, now that's a hell of a statement there, Regina. Yeah, that is a hell of a statement. And here go Asator. I'm the one who caught that first, laugh out loud. Half the sector is saying credit ability. No, I didn't know that. I was talking about one of these people that I went to see, but I do remember you. Yeah, I do remember you saying that. Yeah, this guy said creditability. He put a D, an extra D. But you did catch that, and we laughed about that. We sure did. Asatar said, I am the one who caught that first, laugh out loud. Half the sector is talking about creditability, when the credibility, so it's credibility, not creditability. At the name, the liar from Alabama claiming Georgia. So Alicia ain't gonna even read that. I was gonna read that about your supreme knowledge. I'm gonna let you have your supreme your supreme knowledge. Y'all crazy for real though. Phyllis said, yes, we need to be taught from those who know our history. Regina said, yes, it's very sad. So many. I am not going deep. Too late. And we are coming to a close. But trust at Toothless Tiger, I get it. Thank you, Regina. Thank you so much. I hate you were not here when we did your subject that you gave me, but I did give you your credit for giving me that subject. I hope you go back and look at it. You know, I don't put anything in my titles, and I know people be wondering, why don't she tell what they're about or whatever? But I found what works for me. And that's another thing that one needs to learn. Whatever works for you, do you. Quit trying to be like the others. I've tried to find thumbnails that match my topics, and I've tried to come up with some beautiful words to talk about what I'm going to talk about. And those are most of the videos that they choose not to put ads on. So what works for me is when I do my Wednesday conversation and my Sundays on the couch, I don't have issues. It sings. Once or twice, it sings. So, I just say, do you. Don't be moved by the crowd. Because remember, the crowd is the group that put the Savior on the cross. And just as quick as the crowd comes, the crowd will leave you. And if you don't learn any other saying, this is not my saying, and I don't know who came up with this saying, but Asatar says it, and it is so true. A friend to everybody is a friend to nobody. That's in the human realm. Because they claim that the Savior is a friend to all. That's a claim. But what we know in the human realm, a friend to everybody is a friend to nobody. So if you know anything about a peace pipe, put that in your peace pipe and smoke it. Marinade on these things. And if you miss something, go back and check it out. Never be offended if you can't make it inside of the chat. I would love to see you in here, but if you can't make it, I truly understand. You guys have been rolling with me forever, and I'm truly grateful. I don't have to have 279 people in here and only 13 people chat. I don't have to have that. I thank everybody that watched me from the bushes, from the beach, from the trees, from wherever you are, the sky, underground, wherever you are. I thank you. It means a lot to me. Thank you for the likes. I greatly appreciate that. My comments have kind of fallen off, but I thank you, Laura, Brianna, Maria, Catchy. Those are the ones, so Alicia, Asatar, that oftentimes go, if they don't do nothing but leave an emoji, but leave comments. And thank you, some of the watchers. Leave comments. Some good and some not so good. Some of the not so good I'll let stay. Some of them, they're not going to ever make it to the light of day. I already have them held and I'm already going to get rid of them. I don't need to be reminded of your disdain for me. I need to be reminded of my greatness and my care for you. That's what I need to be reminded of. Some people may need to be reminded. I guarantee you I know my shortcomings. And I have not overcame them. No, I have not. I still fall short. I do. But every day I strive to be better than I was the day before. And real soon, I'm going to be 65 years old. We're counting down. Today is the 19th, 7 days away from 65. Boy, when you're a kid, you don't even think about when you're going to be 65 years old. When you have little nieces and nephews when you're young, it's really something to look up at them today. And now I have a 56-year-old and 57, and it's just awesome. My niece and her husband celebrated their birthdays on yesterday. I sang to them, but I'm going to play my little birthday song that I made for my son for them. And Brianna, I have made this for my son and Brianna. I'm going to play that birthday song. And again, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. I love all of you. I'm so grateful that you all came and stayed. I thank y'all for your input. And I plan to bring another slamming event on Sunday. We will have completed everything we need to, and it will be up in the mail, and we can rest good on Saturday. That's what I'm anticipating. We'll see, but that's what I'm anticipating. And I want to thank everybody. I'm going to play, 1 or 2 songs out, and then, of course, I'm leaving the Tiger's Den. Have a good night, everybody. Hope to see you Sunday. Okay. Let me tell them happy birthday. That came up, but I don't hear my song. Oh, that's the wrong background. I changed the background. Greg, every time I do something silly like that on the computer, I can just hear him. You old folks ought to keep y'all old ass off the computer. I heard him say that to me so much. Who that tickles me? And I know that's our private joke, but it's funny. So I made it public. Oh, Lord. Okay, here it is, everybody. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Go, Greg. It's your birthday. 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 It's your day, gon' turn it up. It's your day, go turn it up. It's your day, go turn it up. It's your day, your birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Brianna too. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. I love you. That's husband and wife, my niece and nephew, born on the same day, and they celebrated yesterday. So happy birthday to you guys. And let's see what 2 songs I'm going to play. Well, I'll play the money song because we know a lot of people really are messed up because the love of money. Not because of money, but the love of it and willing to do anything for it. And it can cause us pain or pleasure. And you have to choose for you what it means to you and what it'll cost you. So let me play one of the favorites. Some people don't like the song. Some people do. I love them. They really help me. My son said I can't sing. I think I sing real good to me. I know I'm not a songstress, but I love singing. So it just don't matter how it sounds. I'm going to sing. See that old man over there in his chair? This old man is living in the bottle. He done quit his 9 to 5. He drink full time, and now he's living in the bottle. Well, see that old man over there in his chair? This old man got a problem, and it's a bad one. Now he done pawned off everything, his old woman wedding ring for the bottle. Well, and don't you think it's a crime when time after time people living in the bottle? These people living in the bottle, y'all. Money, 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 money. Money. Money, 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 money. Some people will sell you out. Do you know what I'm talking about? Some people tell jokes of dirt. They don't care whose feelings they hurt. I was told from times of old, the game's to be sold and not told. If you don't know what I'm talking about, hang around YouTube and you will find out about that mean, oh mean, mean green, almighty dollar, cash money. Well, people don't let money, don't let money change you. Almighty dollar, cash money. People don't let money. Don't let money change you. Almighty dollar, they just keep on scamming and scamming everybody. Check them out, scamming and scamming everybody. I tell y'all, people don't let money, don't let money change you. Money, 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 money. Money. In the mother's love, you will find everything everything's alright. To a mother's love, you are bound. You can rest on sacred ground. You are free to dream, because she sees what you can be. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us who we used to be. Everybody's searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. I never found anyone to fulfill my needs. A lonely place to be. So I learned to depend on me. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I failed, if I succeed, at least I'll live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity, because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. And if by chance that special place that you've been dreaming of takes you to a lonely place, find yourself in love. YouTube. When I look at the subscribers that I received over the past year, 60 subscribers compared to other content creators. Some started when I started. Some came after me. The numbers are not numbering. From what my numbers tell me, I gained 1 subscriber every 6 days. YouTube. You got me. You got me. You've got me, YouTube. You've got me speechless. You've got me. You've got me. You've got me. You've got me speechless. All I can say is yes, yes, yes. All I can say is yes, yes, yes. Whoo.